A bargain with the devil. Bill comes due for overextended Airbnb hosts. Entrepreneurs built mini empires of short-term rental properties, borrowing against revenue that's now vanishing under coronavirus lockdowns. So a reminder that today at 3 o'clock we are having a housing panel with Amy C3, K Swiftly, and Touring News, where we will undoubtedly open with and discuss my working theory that is, all landlords are parasites. And you Airbnb motherfuckers, the one who are driving up the cost of homes for actual working class families who would actually like to purchase homes so that they could one day get equity so that they could one day succeed in capitalism like you have. On behalf of all them, I'm glad you're going broke. And I hope that you lose not only all your rental properties, but the actual house that your family owns. Because if anybody deserves to be homeless, it's you. You are complete and utter trash. And I hope you enjoy living outdoors. Yeah, 0 fucks to give. 0. No, Jesus isn't going to help. Jesus wouldn't be allowed to build houses, you know, all the permits and such. I mean, am I wrong? Like, I had like Hark Dan up my ass who's like, I provide housing for people. No, you don't. They pay your bills. Technically, they provide you with housing. Like, does anybody not know how housing works? I feel like I'm the only one, and I'm a moron, so... Good Lord. If I'm the adult in the room, you're all fucked. Good Lord. Oh, really? I have to give Wall Street Journal money? Fuck you, Wall Street Journal. Give Wall Street Journal money. Bitch, you're named after Wall Street. You should have money. Wow. I'm going to have to find this article somewhere else. I'm sure somebody will have reprinted it. I know. I got to just get the plug-in, and I'm just lazy. See, I told you all I'm lazy. None of you believe me. There we go. Well, now we got the whole first 3 paragraphs. Ms. Dope is part of an upper crust dimension of the gig economy. Property owners and speculators who bought or leased real estate in pursuit of Airbnb profits. Airbnb spawned a cottage industry of homeowners running their own property empires, turning the startup into a hotelier without any hotels. The sharing economy has proven particularly unstable in the pandemic. Imagine that. Silicon Valley championed the concept of turning America into land of entrepreneurs, taking advantage of flexible hours, unimpeded by the regulations or specialized training. People who bought into the idea turned their cars into workstations for Uber Technologies Inc. and Lyft Inc., or became couriers for food delivery service like DoorDash Inc. I whispered a link at you for a housing debate, how to solve homelessness. Thanks, Political Puppy. Appreciate that. They've taken a hit, but with Airbnb, the problems are broader. Hosts brought them with cleaning services, interior designers, and property maintenance workers who help build miniature property empires. So their plight has ripple effects that go far beyond their own listings. Again, I have zero sympathy. I'm a landlord to a shop commercial. Some type of geologist is renting it now. Last renter was a carpenter for 12 years. I have 600 plus acres of farmland. Okay, so now farmland is a totally different thing. All of act.tv spoilers are landlords. Yeah, that would be funny. I'd look over and be like, why are there only 3 viewers? That's weird. So I actually had this conversation with somebody before. I don't know. Maybe Bad Hoss, I don't know if you'll appreciate this take or not. So part of my my libertarian conversation the other day was in just about because everybody has a different definition of capitalism, but ultimately in capitalism, you're talking about private property is the crux of capitalism, is private property. And I had to explain to people that there's a difference between personal property and private property, and most people didn't understand this fact. And once I explained it to them, the entire capitalism thing and the bullshit of housing makes a lot more sense. So personal property is any property that you can purchase, manufacture, or acquire which does not involve the government, that is portable. It's a single arrangement. It does not involve the government, i.e. buying a toothbrush, i.e. getting food. You know, that food is personal property. The toothbrush is personal property. Private property is any form of property that is unmovable, i.e. it requires you to enter into a contract with the state because technically the state owns everything. And this is housing, farmland, mining rights, water rights, that sort of thing. So technically, when you own land, when you become a landlord, lord of the land. I am lord of this 1 acre lot. Lord of the land. Lord of 1/4 of all the homes in this cul-de-sac. I am lord of the land. So when you become a landlord, it's not actually your property. It's private property. Personal property is yours. Private property is property that you own in conjunction with the state as the state allows it. Huge difference between personal property and private property. And then once I explain that to you, let the gears turn a couple shifts, and then you're going to be like, holy shit, all landlords are parasites. Wow. It's going to kick in for you, I promise. Lord of the land. And this Subaru in the parking lot. Lord of the land and the Subaru. I'm a landlord. I shall now get a tenant to pay my mortgage for me. Lord of the land. Click, click. I don't hate all landlords. Pensions are bad in the UK, so some invested in an extra apartment or house and rented it out so they could afford to live. These small lady landlords I find hard to see as evil. Some political puppy, what you're telling me is a whole bunch of people who were done working decided that they would invest their capital into a property to now extract wealth from other members of the working class to pay their bills, and you don't see a problem with that. Let that sentence rattle through a couple times. Let me know what you think. Yeah. I don't go tepid on the housing thing or the landlord thing. Lord of the land. I am Lord. Lord of 32 Maple Drive. Lord of the land. Education is a hell of a drug. Not sure if it's the same everywhere. But like here in Connecticut, all you save renting is some of the cost of maintenance. I could rent this house for the same as my mortgages. Well, that's because in a free market capitalist economy, you chose poorly and got a bad mortgage. And actually, Nietzsche, I'm seriously, I'm like 2 hours from you. I drove through northern Connecticut the other day, and I was astounded at how much of it is like just dairy farm and like 100-acre lots. That's just chilling. I had no idea. I'd never driven through northern Connecticut before. It was the first time. How do you feel about the percentage of your income the landlord expects you to pay for your domicile? Yes, exactly. I always notice that my landlord conveniently charges whatever their mortgage is for rent. Like, so basically I'm paying my rent and your rent? Huh. So if there were no landlords, housing would just be a lot more affordable for everybody. How do I feel about that? Yeah, I think I'd be okay with that shit. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd be okay with that. Yeah. Snopes. Did this Nobel Prize winner say COVID-19 was created in a lab? Who cares? Just because you win a Nobel doesn't mean you're not a douche. I could win a Nobel Prize in douchebaggery. Shit, if anybody's going to win that, it's going to be me. Still won't have enough money to buy a house and become Lord of the Land, though. Lord of the Land! I shall rule this cul-de-sac with an iron fist. My wife Karen shall be on the HOA. None of you will have red mailboxes. For I am Lord of the Land. What's up, Emily? Somebody throw Emma shout out. I love you, Emily. Merry Christmas. Top of the morning. Welcome to the party. No, Nobel Prizes for scientists aren't fake. You could win a Nobel Prize in something and then be shitty at something else. Um, you could fucking win a Nobel Prize in your 20s and then, become a Scientologist and come up with real shitty hot takes in your 70s. Like, all things are possible. Like, Kevin Costner won a fucking Oscar award. You seen Kevin Costner act anything even remotely decently in like 30 years? Just saying. If you have any questions, I'll refer you to Waterworld. Waterworld. Yeah. So we're back, gang. We're back. So I woke my ass up late and had to shower. Hey, Emily, listen, we're finally re-indexed, so everybody is allowed to be as slow and as sloppy and as lazy as they want to be today, because we exist for the first time in 3 weeks. So I am all good. Everybody, hang on out. Chill. Grab a beer. Kick it. Not everybody wants to or can buy. How would they live? People pay rent in council flats too. Then the municipality is the landlord. Rents are lower, but still rents. I'm okay with saying we should have a certain amount of housing that is rental housing and is not purchasable housing, but it should be affordable. And I don't think individuals should be profiting from like other individuals. Like that's like some weird fucking economic capitalism. That's bad. It's vampirism in economic form. Like, why do that? Why extract wealth from each other? I mean, if you have to have rent on housing and rental housing, then yeah, to your point of like council flats in the UK, then have all like fucking rent paid to like quote government owned housing. I mean, I'd rather it be social owned housing and have it go back into the community. Have all that money go back into the maintenance and repair of the buildings so that, I don't know, maybe landlords that are government owned and government run don't do things like buy extremely flammable cladding when they redo the outside of a building to save money and then burn everybody to death like a giant fucking flaming taco pinata. I don't know. Maybe that would be an idea. Look out, James is in spicy hot take mode today. What up, Freebs? Yeah, we are no longer invisible. We now exist. I need to fucking crank us up to 100 Andy ASAP because I lost a shit ton of time and a shit ton of ground. And people up at act.tv are like shaking their head looking at me going, oh, looks like the page is dying. So yeah, I'm not a number whore, but we need to get 100 Andy with a fucking quickness. I am open to all sorts of recommendations and ideas. Woo! I'm so looking forward to my shitty hot takes when I'm 70. I mean, I'm practically 70, so mine should be a good preview for you. I'm happy for you guys re-index. I shouted you out in my outro during A4. Freems, I appreciate that. I also saw your tweet, which then Kurt tweeted, which then I believe our people just retweeted. So, Freems, nothing but love. I appreciate you. I've given many a shout out to the late night crew, such as you and Mindwaves and Leon and fucking Battle Lounge, who turn around and go and raid into Touring so Touring could raid into me so we could exist for the last 3 weeks while we were re-indexed. So I appreciate you. FYI, next Monday, Freems is actually going to come on and co-host with me for a couple hours next Monday afternoon. So there you go. Going to give you a little Freems action. I'm going to give you all the West Virginia lowdown. Yeah. I feel you, Freems. Plus, I'm really excited that one day you're going to be Kay Swiftly's stepdad. So that's going to be fun. I'm super excited about that. Landlords are the insurance industry of housing. Exactly. Exactly. They are the bumper on the bumper car. Carpe, that is the take of the day. I might remind me of that shit later when we get to the housing thing, because I'm totally going to steal that so I can seem smart in front of Amy, because we don't normally get highfalutin and partner people like that coming and hanging out with us. So, I'm going to act like I know some shit. Idea, make housing not for landlords, but for cats. Rick Boson, I can totally support that idea. I'm with you. You're not 70 or 69. Hey-oh! I see what you did there. Everyone share stream to social media, please. I appreciate y'all. Ask to debate Harkdan on housing with Destiny as a moderator on his channel. Oh my God, I would do that in a heartbeat. For those who don't know, I ran into Harkdan on my first uh, big brain mind waves roundtable, and I don't know. Harkdan was talking some shit, and I let him go for like 2 hours, and I didn't say anything. And people are like, "Why aren't you saying anything? Why aren't you saying anything?" And then I completely lost my shit, and I hit him so hard that he literally had to resort to, "What? Who the fuck are you anyway? Who's act.tv? Why am I even fucking talking to you?" And then like 5 minutes later, he like had to go and he logged off, and I was like, ooh, you know you hit the sore spot when people go, "And who the fuck even are you?" and try to pull out the big dick game on you. I was like, ooh, oh, don't worry. Don't worry. That's not actual physical soreness. That's just your pride that's hurt. Don't worry. That shit goes away. You just gotta like rub something on it. You'll be all right. Like, so yeah, and I didn't even know that Dan was landlord, lord of the land. I didn't even know about that shit then. I would totally do a housing debate with Dan. And again, it's not like I don't know the guy personally. I have nothing against him as like a human being or a person. Like, I don't know, but woo, he had some bad shitty hot takes. Like they were like bad hot takes were coming up to his hot takes, and they were like, dude, ooh, like yeah, they were just bad. What's up, The Reckoning? Mellow greetings. Good to see you. Look, I'm seeing like so many people who I haven't seen in a month because they're like, we didn't know you existed. Nikki, my dog's doing gross shit. And I hit him with a pillow. That usually helps. Frames, James showed a video of Biden playing Animal Crossing in a podcast with Clinton. Email Destiny. He'll totally say, I'm not going to email Destiny. I don't do that shit. I'm not that guy. Quick question. If, say, there's no more landlords, but we still need rental properties, who would own it? How about the local communities where those rental properties are located? How about all the money goes back into the property itself and is reinvested into it? And if there's extra, it goes into, I don't know, local daycare. Whatever community has the rental housing, that community should benefit from the rental housing. So this way everybody benefits, because when you keep money local in an economy, like if you give out, let's say you give out like, you know, corporate bailouts, and you give like a corporation $1 trillion, they take that money and it goes right into their bank account. It might go out in the form of stock options, and then it gets socked offshore. So basically that money never recirculates. If you take $1 and you spend it locally, that dollar on average circulates 7 times before it permanently ends up in a bank. So the more local economic stimulation and the more local economic prosperity you have, the better it is for everybody in that local economy. As opposed to if you have investors, landlords, lords of the land, who have a property, somebody pays them rent, they take that check, they turn it over, they sign their name on the back, they give it to the bank, and that's how they pay their mortgage. Then that money never recirculates through the local economy, and the local economy stagnates. But if you had rental properties that are owned by a community, and all the money circulates back into the community, the economy of that local community becomes much more vibrant, even though the renters are spending the same exact amount of money they would be spending if they gave their money to a landlord. And that's what you want, is you want positive economic stimulation and local economic growth. Because when you have national or global economic growth, you end up with what we have now, which is a hyperinflated stock market, while home ownership and income inequalities are like at some of their lowest numbers in a century. Yeah, I know I did shitty on that coronavirus test, but I do know stuff, people. Don't act surprised. Oh, it's good stuff. Hopefully that answered that question for you, by the way, Ito. My message to Wheat may have worked. CBN, so actually, Touring News had contacted DJ Wheat very early into the channel problem, and I saw that day DJ Wheat came into our channel because I saw he followed the channel, and Touring told me afterwards that Wheat had actually replicated the problem himself and knew what it was and was like trying to get the ticket elevated. And that was like almost 3 weeks ago. And Andre and I looked at it and we saw like we could see what was going on with the front facing portion of it. We just couldn't see how the back was indexing the token, but we could see how it wasn't indexing properly. I guess it was just a question of them eventually getting to it. My grandma on my father's side is that landlord that knocks on trailer park doors for rent owed. First of the month, where's my rent check? First of the month, where's my rent check? I know you just got your government check 2 days ago. I want my rent check. Yeah. There's one of them in every community. Sounds like extra steps to get money into a bank. The investor is more efficient to get money into the bank. Yes. The question would be, how would the community come up with the capital to build the housing in the first place? Everybody in the community could contribute. Maybe the community could take out a loan in much the same way. I don't know if you all have heard of the amazing, amazing broadband internet that they have in Tennessee. I believe it's in Chattanooga. So Chattanooga is a fairly big city, but it wasn't big enough, and none of the cable companies wanted to put fiber optic cable into the city of Chattanooga because they did the expense reports and the extrapolations, and they determined that laying fiber down and then charging everybody for it, they wouldn't make enough money, so they opted not to. So after years of getting blown back into the dark ages, the city of Chattanooga, all the people in the city of Chattanooga voted on a public referendum. The city of Chattanooga released bonds, took that money, and they basically contracted out and basically built and bought their own fiber optic network. And now Chattanooga has some of the highest internet speeds in all the United States of America. And Chattanooga is now the Silicon Valley of the South because they have amazingly high speed, low cost internet. Basically, a community invested in itself, took that capital, and now has used that capital to build their community further. And all the money stayed in the community. So I assume it would work somehow close to that or like that. Act.tv, Grenfell Tower that burnt full of poor brown people and black people in London was council built. Investigation still ongoing, but building materials were blamed. Horrible catastrophe. Yes, I agree. And unfortunately, political puppy, the problem with Grenfell was that there are local politicians who are making the determination on that. Once again, I'm not a big fan of the government owning, quote, government housing or public housing. I think a community should own public housing, because if the community owned Grenfell Tower, the community wouldn't have voted to put up giant flammable sheets all over the outside of the building, because the community understands that they're voting for people who actually live within their community, as opposed to shit-ass government officials who are no different than shit-ass capitalists, other than the fact that you can occasionally vote them out of office. Literally the only difference between the two. However, if these things are publicly held, meaning there isn't a politician posing as a capitalist or a capitalist posing as a politician at the top of the pyramid scheme, then these problems don't happen. I would be willing to wager on that. But yes, I do concede to your point, political puppy. You are correct. However, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's some like local douche housing official who's the one who makes the determination on all the bids and then decides who should get it. Like, it wasn't like Parliament is the one who decided that. It was some local bureaucratic functionary who got bribed by some sales rep, i.e. a capitalist paid another capitalist to fuck over people, as opposed to a community getting to hear and look at all the bids and then determine for themselves, wherein they would choose in their own best self-interest as members of that community. Whew. Good Lord, James is in fuego today. Look at this shit.